So, Isabel, tell us where you're up to on this journey.
Well, hello everybody. I've seen you all already on the recordings, but obviously I'm new here. Um, so I don't know where to start. I've always sort of been interested in spirituality but never really done any major research, on myself and all that. And then I got my kids and I wasn't really interested for many years. And 18 months ago, my husband was diagnosed with dementia, and that was a big hit for me. And therefore, since then, I tried to relax as much as I could because it was a big blow at the time. And I don't know, I couldn't sleep, and it's a really funny thing. I couldn't sleep, so I bought a book, and the guy recommended looking at meditation, and he said, "Oh, you should Google Ajahn Brahm, who's a Buddhist monk in Western Australia." So I watched many videos, and I really like him, but somehow all the Buddhist thing, I don't know, I thought there was too much. It didn't feel natural to me, too much dogma, I think, and something like, I don't know, it didn't sit well with me. So eventually I started looking into non-duality. I don't know, those videos kept coming on my YouTube channel. And about 3 weeks ago, I found you, Vince, through the fetters with the website of Pernil and Todd. So they were mentioning you, and that's how I started. And yeah, that's about it. So I don't know. Ask me questions. Oh, sorry. I registered with Liberation Unleashed, and I've got the feeling that my guide is Tyler, but I'm not 100% sure.
Hmm.
Um, so that's it.
Right. So is your guide TY0?
That's it.
Yeah. Well,
Is
you're
your name Isobel on the website?
Isabel, yes. Yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
there you go. Good
Good,
stuff.
thanks.
Yeah. It's a small world. Yeah.
So I'm in Australia. I'm in Melbourne. I'm French, and I don't know. I don't know what else do you want to know.
so from what you wrote recently, sounds like things have been good, yeah?
Things have been pretty good, yes, in the last, well, since I've started talking to you, really, Tyler. Um, I don't know. I've looked deeper into it, and I think that's what I need. I need someone to actually question things, and make me look into it a bit deeper, because on my own, I just kept turning in circles and I just didn't know where to start. I bought books and things, but I don't know, things didn't click
Yeah.
until I found you guys, and just watching a few videos made a big difference, because I like the way you interact with people and you go directly, I feel there's no nonsense. You don't talk too much about fluff, and it sits well with me.
So
Right.
don't you don't think you're running around in circles anymore?
Well, I wouldn't say that, but at least I feel like I'm going somewhere. Like looking into my thoughts was such a big deal, and sitting with my emotions, and I feel like things are happening now, and it feels good even when it feels bad. I don't know how to describe it, but I can I can feel that, yeah, when I sit with my emotion, which was a big deal. I'm feeling really bad and wanting to cry or to attack people, you know, when I was being confronted. I just try to stop now and just see what's going on. And most of the time, not most of the time, always, that's a thought. What am I talking about? What am I thinking about? And then I feel those tensions in my guts or in my throat, and I just sit with it. And sometimes I talk to it, which feels a bit silly, but it seems to be working because it just dissipates. It just goes away by itself. And I was telling you, Tyler, it was really silly, but I had that phobia of telephones, having to call people, especially, English is not my native language. So sometimes when I call people, if I don't understand them, I feel a bit stressed, and just always that tension in my belly. And then when I looked into it and I asked, what is it? What are you trying to protect here? And somehow it was so clear. When I was a child, my dad used to yell at me if the phone was ringing, and I would pick it up and not get the right message, not know who did the call, or not know on a piece of paper what it was about. My dad used to yell at me, and it was so clear that, yeah, that's where it came from. And that's it, it's gone now. And it's only after a few days I had to do some very important calls for my husband and all that. And it was like, no stress, no nothing. It had completely gone. And I thought, oh dear, that's the way to do it. And I try to do it every time I feel something, some tension. I just sit with it, and it seems to be working. I'm not sure it's going to work for big, major things that will arise, but so far, so good.
Excellent.
Sounds amazing.
And I did watch a few videos recently as well that just appeared out of the blue. I think the chap used to be a guy that Liberation Unleashed as well, and his YouTube channel is called Buddhist Sympathizer. I don't know if you know him. I don't know his name, but the way he was going through the first theta, it just clicked. I just watched, he had 5 or 6 videos, and it just made so much sense. And I'm just thinking, why didn't I see these things before? It's so obvious. And it's like, it's always been there. And I don't know, it seems silly now in retrospect, what was I looking for? It was always there. It's, always. And I've always known it was there. That's the weird thing as well. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, it feels very clear that the self is just mental construction, and everything happens. And yeah,
It's
I
pretty.
did have a few. Sorry.
I was going to say it's pretty common when people see that they go, "How come I never saw it before? It's so obvious."
Yeah, because it's always there. It's always been there. And you're right. It is obvious now. It wasn't before, obviously. But now it feels good. It feels really good.
Yeah. Sounds
I
good.
had a few moments a few months ago. One time I just woke up, and for me, waking up and doing meditation doesn't work very well, because when I wake up, that's when all my mind, all my thoughts are attacking me. So I find it hard to meditate in the morning. Not that I'm a great meditator, but one morning I just woke up and there was nothing. And yeah, Tyler said you had a quiet mind at that stage, and it was so quiet, so peaceful. It was really, it was really good. It felt, and that was the first time that I thought, oh, yeah, that's good. No pain, no nothing. It was such a beautiful time. I can't say that I'm looking to reproduce that, but yeah, it was really good. It felt really nice.
Mm.
And another thing that happened, I don't know, that's very weird, and I don't even know if it's a thing or what. I don't know if anyone's experienced something like that, but I'd like someone to maybe give me their opinion. I did download at one stage the meditation of what's his name? Angelo. And I don't know, it was lunchtime. I was not sleepy. It was my lunch break, and I just listened to one of his short meditation. And I just put my hands like that in front of my eyes, cupped. So it's not as if I was putting pressure on my eyes or anything. It was just to get the light out. And I have to say that when I think, it's just words. I never see images. I can't conjure up anything. It's just thoughts. I don't see images in my head. But that time, there was like a light, a bright light that came out of my chest, and I could see it, and with my eyes closed, and it scared me, and I just backed off. And so it was just like maybe 3 or 4 seconds, but that bright light was like an immense bit of energy that was coming out of my chest. And I don't know, I have no idea what that was. I didn't want to discuss that with anyone because I thought maybe people would think I'm crazy. I don't know. But I thought here tonight that would be a right place to discuss these things.
Okay, before you try and get an opinion on what that is and what that means, and before you go on the internet searching a lot about what this bright light stuff means,
Yeah.
just you don't need to do that.
Well, I didn't really, because at the time it did scare me a little bit. And again, it didn't last long. It was just a blip.
So all you know
And
about it now is that you don't know what this is or what it
no
means, right?
idea. No
Yeah.
idea.
You don't try to know,
Okay.
right? Everyone's just gonna have, maybe some people have the same experience, and
Yeah.
it means something to each of them, and they have their own interpretation and explanation of it. None of that is gonna help you. It's just interpretation of what they experience.
Yeah. I
It's
don't even have an interpretation myself.
Yeah,
It's,
keep it. That's good. Keep it. Yeah, you don't need
yeah.
opinions. It's all there is.
Okay.
It's just your experience. That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Everything sounds really good to me, Isabella. I think
Oh,
you're
thank you.
you're
Yeah,
in a
look,
good place.
I
Yeah.
feel in a good place right now. And it's strange to say that, but I'm looking forward to going deeper, into my feelings and all that at that stage. Um, and another thing that I find surprising now is that when I talk to people, I actually sort of notice all the selfing that they're doing. I notice my one when I'm in the conversation, but I notice them as well, and it's very bizarre to see it, and it's interesting. I find it very interesting to see how people interact, and
So
I
it's
try to. It's not that I try, but I do it naturally. Not always, but I manage to catch my thought. I try. It's like before, it's like, oh, that person is probably thinking this or that of me, and now I just disregard it. I don't care anymore. It's just a thought. It's not important.
mm,
So that's a good feeling too. I don't feel that pressure of being judged all the time, and
yeah,
so I
and
like that.
equally important that you recognize if you start judging other people for doing selfing stuff. So
Well,
again,
it's not that I'm judging them, it's just that I notice it.
just notice, noticing's
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
It's and there will be a lot of experiences you will have that don't it doesn't work to try and describe them or to even communicate them. You can't communicate them accurately simply because
Mm.
they're too complex and too subtle and too, it's hard anyway, I mean, how difficult are words to use? Um, we can have two people standing next to a blue car and one will say it's green and one will say it's blue, and they're both right. So, it's
Yeah,
never.
funny you should say that, because where I work this week, there was a new car on the car park. So I asked one of my colleagues, whose car is it? And she said, which one? The purple one? I said, no, the blue one. We
Yeah,
were talking about the same car, but
yeah,
yeah, so you're absolutely right. Yeah.
yeah. So just noticing and noticing the noticing is where the value is. Yeah. Ah, you're in for a great trip, I can tell. I think that's really good.
Thank you.
And you've got a really good guide in Tyler, so you'll zoom through. And next thing, and after you get through, which won't be very long, I suggest that you start guiding yourself. It's be very valuable to you and to other people as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I must say that the first video that I watched of you guys, Tyler made me a little bit nervous, because I thought, oh dear, he was really prompting this lady, and I was
Yeah, he can be an attack dog.
he's
That's
going
okay.
he's
Yeah.
going to chew me alive. But then now as a guide he was really good, and yeah, I think he was I don't think, I know he was pointing and to the right places,
Yeah.
which is
Oh,
it was
if you
good for
need
me.
it, he'll give it to you. That's for sure. Yeah.
Mm.
Good stuff. Mm. Where are you up to, Caesar?
Oh, hello. Mhm. Um, quite honestly, I don't really know. Yeah, what I've been working with recently is still it's weird. Sometimes I'm not disoriented, but I'm just like I don't know where I am in this path, and I've been trying to like not try to know it. And yeah, what's been going on for me is more like processing emotions here and there, and I still do self-inquiry, yeah, looking at what's here and now. Mostly that's what I do in my type of inquiry. Usually I just try to relax and look at what's present here and just discern. Sometimes a question comes up that feels correct, just using curiosity, really trying to challenge everything. Just like sometimes I inquire into objects, distance, sometimes into the body, just feeling deeper and deeper the sensations that come up and observing subtler and subtler thoughts that seem to map where it is in region or if they mean anything. So I've been trying to experience more of this like direct sensation without labels. Yeah,
So
been
what's your,
trying to in terms of like emotion, it's been weird because it changes quite a lot. Like some weirds, I'm just like really annoyed, and then I try to observe like the gap between reactions, and suddenly, like in the next week, everything is just like really light and okay. So I do more inquiry when I feel that way. Yeah.
so have you seen through this idea that there is a self running the show? Is there somebody in there making decisions and having control?
Yeah, this is what is weird. I think it feels that way. I feel like there's and but maybe not everywhere. It's kind of confusing in this sense that I don't know where I am because sometimes it's very clear to me that things are just thoughts or things are just happening. And I noticed some patterns, like some patterns of worrying about the future kind of stopped, these kinds of thoughts, or about the past, or thinking about what's going on somewhere else in the world. But at the same time, I see like conditioning, and I see this pull, like when I'm interacting with people, sometimes if I don't observe myself more closely, I can see that intent to like look a certain way, or trying to get out something of the interaction. So there is still, I'm sure there's still selfing, but weirdly, it's seen happening. Sometimes I try to inquire further into it, like what is it like pointing to? What is it trying to do? And I can never find anything, but at the same time, I see it happening.
Hmm.
Mm.
So it sounds to me like you have an expectation that there won't be any more selfing when a certain point is reached.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay, yeah. All right, let me
Is
know when
that a
you get
false
there. I'd be
assumption?
interested. That hasn't happened for me yet.
Okay.
Selfing still happens
That's
from
good to
time
know
to time. Yeah,
then.
yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I have this feeling that I'm chasing my own tail. So this is why I'm trying not to interpret too much or let go of this idea of awakening or shift or whatever, just like dealing with whatever is arising in a moment.
Yeah. Okay. So I have this meme that I like, which is that if you're looking for a watermelon and you normally keep watermelons in the fridge and you go to the fridge and you open it up and look for a watermelon and there's no watermelon in there. And so you shut the fridge door and you walk across the room, but you still want a watermelon. Do you go back and look in the fridge again? Do you keep going back and looking in the fridge? Or do you
No.
accept straight away that there's none in there and that's it? Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. So this uncertainty you've got about there not being a self there, how come it comes and goes? Why doesn't it stay away once you've seen that there's no watermelon in the fridge? Why you go back looking again?
mm, I don't really know. Maybe, yeah, maybe it's what you said. I'm trying to find something, even
Mm,
though I don't find it.
right. So
I
that
think there is an expectation that it'll, like you said, it'll feel that way, that like once
right,
it's seen through, it'll feel that way, that
right.
I don't know,
But it's
different.
pretty obvious that it's not going to feel that way while ever there's doubt about it, eh?
Mm,
While ever you've got doubts, you're going to keep going, oh, well, I better look again.
hmm
So is it all a case of whether or not things match your expectations? That your expectations are they unreal? Are they not the way things are likely to be?
Yeah, very likely.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
So so the way I put this is when somebody has that initial shift where they see that there's no self running this show, it can be fairly sudden, but frequently it's not totally over the cliff kind of stuff. And what will happen is that selfing will get triggered by conditions, by circumstances. And so all of a sudden, somebody will, let's say somebody says something to you and you go, oh, and you have a defensive reaction and you go, that was a bit of selfing. You know, here I was defending this self that doesn't actually exist. Doesn't mean that there is one existing, but it was triggered for you to get defensive. And if you see that happened, that you got defensive, next time it happens, you're likely to see it straight away and you don't get it as defensive or you don't get defensive at all. And so fairly quickly, that particular circumstance doesn't bring about a selfing thing because you see it. But next thing you know, something else happens and you find yourself selfing. And as a result of that, you again see that that's what happens. You saw yourself doing it. And so consequently, that one's not likely to turn up again. And there'll be these remnants, these unconscious identifications that will happen and will keep coming up until they get triggered and they get seen, and then they don't come up anymore because they're seen through, we recognize. And it's amazing, here I am 12 years later and it still happens to me from time to time, right? I just, things haven't been triggered in all that time. And all of a sudden, somebody will say something or something will happen and you'll go, oh, there's a bit of selfie, or even here's a great one, something happens, like I knocked a cup of coffee off a couple of months ago off the table and I didn't have a reaction to it until I then patted myself on the shoulder for not having a reaction to it. Guess what? Bit of selfing, I thought, that was pretty good. So, the things will keep happening until they don't. Now, then for some people, just some people, there's much deeper stuff, what we call shadow work, so that there'll be stuff there that they've been carrying since they were an infant, probably. And they don't remember it, they don't realize it, but if certain circumstances trigger that, and they get into a selfing state, then that requires a different kind of looking. But for most of us, it's just going to be those remnants that we haven't seen, and they'll be there until we see them, until somebody or something triggers them and we see them, and then they don't happen anymore. But then we can find much more subtle versions of selfing that goes on, and right down to when we get up to, if you think of it in terms of the fetters, you get up to the 8th fetter, and there's a really subtle sense of I exist there, That's pretty subtle stuff, it's, you got to be really, really sensitive to pick that one up, but that will be there until it isn't. And so this is really a non-stop journey, it's going to go for you for the rest of your life, and there'll always be things that'll come up until they don't anymore. So if you get that into your head and that works for you, then that will you'll relax and things will go a lot smoother. One of the things that jumps out is they're still seeking. Do we think we've got to go further? Well, ever there's that, then that's another form of selfing. I've got things aren't the way I want them to be. I want them to be better. I've got to work on something to do that. That's just another form of selfing. But it happens too. Yeah. So yeah, relax. That's what I say. Just relax, and life will offer you opportunities to look at stuff all the time.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think that resonates with me. Yeah, the seeking, like from the start, has been very strong. Happening here. I think it's become more subtle, but yeah, I can definitely see this movement that you just explained still.
Because everybody has their own version of it, so it's all always.
All right, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And you look, there's no rules here. So, somebody says something, you want to jump in, bring up some answer, ask questions, bring any of your experiences in, no worries. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
How are you going, Stelios?
Hi there. More settled here. I think most of the seeking, most of the times has gone. And I'm a little bit stressed now to be here. But watching you and being with people that you can discuss about it, it really helps. It really, really helps. So it was for about 1 month or more that the seeking has dropped, and I didn't really giving a set about what was going on because I was in the mood. Am I watching now? Is this happening now? And this stopped, so I didn't judge so much anymore. And this was for a period that it was really good. And the last week that changed, and it was a lot of heavy feelings that, I didn't really analyze what was going on, but was just accepting that, okay, this is some hard days. So it lasted for about a week and then gradually gone again. So I notice now that if I was in a previous state, I would try to change that. So I think that's good, that, okay, I accept it. This is not a perfect day and things goes on. And I was watching, I think, the previous or the one before of your recordings, and I really resonated with a guy talking about his mother, that he finally touched her hand. I don't know if you remember this. And this really resonated with me. And I just realized that I had some anger about her. And then I realized that there was nothing else to be done, and it was not her fault. So just watching this, I started crying. And after this, it was really, really good and clear again, and all these heavy feelings left, and it was really, really good.
Yeah, that's excellent, isn't it? It's amazing how you can just watch somebody else going through something and it just resonates.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
And I know that this was there, that the anger was there, but it was for wrong reasons. And now I just hearing this and resonate with this, I said, okay, this is totally stupid, and I just felt love.
Yep. Right.
Yeah. Or the anger about mother and situations, it's just love, because I know that she loves me and I love her, but there were some thoughts that were only having to say about me.
Yeah.
And that I would like to be different, the things and the situations. And
Sure.
this was really, 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 really good.
Yeah. Frequently when those things begin, it's like we're too young to have a good perspective about why they're there, and then when we relive them, we bring a much more wise way of looking at them back to it, and it changes. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And you know what else? We always try to find someone to put the blame.
Yes.
This
That's
was a big
very common,
realization.
isn't it?
It was
Yeah.
nobody's blame. Nobody's blame. And I'm not saying this metaphorically, because if you think about it, my mother would never want something bad for me.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And when you have that bad week, you know, things come up, just accepting them, and they can go away because we accept them. But sometimes it's worth looking at what triggers them. You know, if they go away and never come back, then that's fine, that's done, you know. But if they come back for that same reason, then it's worth looking a bit underneath what is going on that brought them up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
But
not
again,
to finish them. Yeah.
no, of course, it's not finished. The things that I noticed that it has something to do, probably on the surface, about work.
Yep.
That there were some thoughts that my work was not good enough. Okay, but this realization, but I don't know if this is the deeper root, but what just came up, this realization came on its own because when I really try to find the root, I notice that it's even more selfing
Yeah.
because I will find the root. So I just let go, watch Netflix, do anything that I wanted to do, or felt easy and not seeking and not analyze it. Because when I try to find the root, I overanalyze.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is overthinking. So I let it be. There were some crap days, and then there was a small realization about this.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Good one. Yeah. Mm. Mm. Have you been giddy?
Well, it's very hot in Italy now, so in the whole of Europe, it's very hot. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's like a survival mode. And I've noticed lately that last time I was speaking about not having any feelings in the body. And then it was like it was centered in around the money issue. And now and now I'm just overwhelmed with being in a body which is feeling sending messages all the time. Not sending messages, but I have this I have something going on in the throat and in the chest area, but there's not any stories attached any longer. And yesterday I had the sensation that it's always been resonating with me that what is what is that sentence, and I really like it. But then yesterday I came to realize that it's like the child inside of me is always going to be there. It's never going to be any different than it is. This just came to me, so I was wondering if anyone would comment on that, because I think I've been trying to dissolve what was, but yesterday was like, what is just always going to be like that. So I was going around yesterday just noticing how it is to be a companion with the child inside of me, instead of wanting it to not be. So yeah, that's what's going on lately, because it's very useful. I've started this new job, and And it's very important not to do any mistakes. It's like it's fatal to do mistakes. So I spend a lot of time on trying to find the mistakes I'm doing. I might not be doing anything, but a lot of time and energy goes into not to finding the mistakes. And yeah, so it's quite new. The thing from yesterday that, so am I always going to be someone who's afraid of or not wanting, or it's an issue doing mistakes. I don't know. So it's quite new.
Mm. So how does the child in you relate to making mistakes? Are they connected?
Connected in which way?
Well, just tell me about the child that you say, the child that will always be there. Tell me about that child. How is that?
What comes up is as if it's just this story of things being my fault. So anything that could go wrong, and that's not defined what is going wrong. Just like an open space of what can go wrong. Always trying to do right, which is not defined. So it's you can go on seeking something that should be right, but you don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite wild.
Yeah.
Would you say violent? A violent feeling of this disease. I do sense this kind of disease in the realization that she's always going to be with me.
Yep.
This yeah.
Yep. And so that relates pretty directly to what you were saying about work and not wanting to make mistakes, and but checking that you're not making mistakes. And
Yeah.
so that is the child in you that you described, eh?
Yeah.
Exactly that. Yeah.
So the new thing is realizing that she's always going to be there, or this sensation is for now is whatever is.
Yeah. So
It's like that. It's like I could, if we would talk about this like some weeks ago, would be some external experience happening, and I could cope with that. But yesterday I realized that the thing is inside of me, it's part of me. So that's the new.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
So I like one aspect of it. I like that you have a feeling of acceptance about that, but I wonder about the fantasy that it will always be there. How do you know it will always be there? What makes you think that?
I don't know that, but it's like I've tried for a long time to maybe I was stuck in thinking in a while something might change. So again, if I think of it, it's like so that might be the question. Is the first step just to say what is now is okay?
Yeah. Well, what is now is unavoidable, right?
I know that.
Yeah. But any idea about whether it will stay or leave is just a story, hey? We can't know that. We simply cannot know that.
Mm-mm. Because if I go into the feeling, then my mind sort of wants it to disappear. So, and there's like a time issue there, and I know there's no time, but then I try to think of it as, is it okay if it's always going to be there?
Ah, so that's a way of, how can I put it? That's a way of tricking yourself into accepting that it's there.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
May I say
Because
something?
Absolutely. Jump in. Yeah.
This reminds me something of my experience, if it says something to you, that when I was looking what is going on and was going deeper, there was always an ugly feeling here, like something burning. And I can remember many times in my life that I had this. So I was trying to observe it so it can change. And then I realized that even it was hurting, when I was noticing this, I was here. So I let it be my guide. I don't know if it makes sense that when you feel lost or what I should do with this, let it be your guide, because it puts you right here.
I asked, in a way, thought of that because it's like, if this child is going to be my companion, then maybe some of her characteristics is a force rather than a weakness, like being quite sensitive or wanting to do good. It's just I haven't discovered it yet because I've spent all this energy of not wanting that part of me. So when you say you can let it be your guide, then maybe that's just what I need to do. Not seeing
Yeah,
it as a
you
go
know,
on.
When you are seeking or try to notice or anything, it's always an effort. And this effort on the backside has an ego that wants to notice, that wants to change things. Have you ever been in some relaxed moments that it's just sounds and sensations and things like this?
Mm.
Have you ever been to this situation? That your mind is not over-analyzing and you just hear experiencing. Maybe this is a fragment of time, but what I want to say that when I really let this to be my guide, I realized that my mind was not analyzing. I don't know if this makes sense.
It
No.
might do. I'll give it some time. It's new to me, so it might do. Thank you.
Gitte, may I offer something for your consideration?
Yeah. Of course.
So when I have these younger parts of myself that are that I'm sensing are present. One of the things that I do is the first thing I do is I welcome that young part of myself, and I invite that part into a safe space to be recognized and acknowledged and accepted and loved and heard. Not to change her, not to change that, but simply to welcome it and love it and recognize that it has something to say.
It's quite, I can hear your words, and when you say it, I feel it's quite difficult because it hurts so much.
Yes.
It's like a sorrow, a deep sorrow.
Yes.
To welcome in something that that is so wonderful, that I haven't won. Yeah, it's so wonderful.
Yes. 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 Absolutely. And to be present for that. Just to, yeah. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I say something? This might be dry, but like when I think about like a part of myself, like my child, or what you've been, at least what I've heard, I just can't help but think, well, this is really just another part of what I take myself to be. So it's part of myself. And I've already proven that that doesn't exist. It's just a network of conditioning. And I kind of just like try to accept that, not even try. It doesn't even need to be accepted almost. It's just something that's there that probably will not remain the same. In fact, we know for sure that it's going to change. So I don't know. I just wanted to point out that it's part of yourself, something that I don't know if you've proven it yet, but it doesn't exist. Anyway.
Yeah, but I find that the first time that I realize something is like a big thing, and then you get you get used to it, and then you can pass on to it's just a thing. So I know all that it's just stories and imaginations and stuff like that. I'll get to that. So thank you for listening.
Yeah. So, Giddy, what I've heard three people say now in their own way, and this is the great part about these meetings where people can offer you different perspectives on things, but everybody has said, accept what's there. What I heard you say was, but it's painful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what comes to mind for me is when it's painful, it's got a big message. The pain is the big message it's offering. So none of these things offer us an answer. They just offer us a way of looking at what's there. So tell me about the pain. What is the pain of that youngster in you?
The bodily sensation.
Is it when that child is present, it's the bodily sensation that hurts?
Yeah, but it has two phases because I can put the story on that it's hurting, but I can also put the story on that it's excitement.
Okay, yeah.
And I know that the curiosity here is that the realization of how many things that I haven't done because I don't want to have this feeling, but it has two phases, so that's quite
Mm.
that's quite interesting as well. It's just like it's like choosing not to be present. Yeah, it's choosing not to be present. That's the pain.
Mm. So the pain comes from not accepting that it's there.
Yeah.
So you can't make yourself accept. That doesn't work, does it? You can't decide to accept. You either accept or you don't. It's like a discovery. It happens or it doesn't happen. It's not something you can decide to do. But you don't have a choice either about living with the pain of it. When it's there, and that's it. It's there, eh?
Well, I choose to now because whereas earlier I wouldn't have any reaction on the body. I would just do things not to feel anything.
Right.
So now I try to be still. I try to not try to.
Yes, you're
I'm
willing to experience it now. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the right word, advancement or an improvement on before when you were dumb and numb or dead to it. Yeah. But so
Yeah.
that's certainly an improvement. Yes. Yeah. Certainly. But it's not pleasant, eh?
No.
Do you look for a message that it might be trying to give you?
Well,
You did. Yeah, go on.
I don't know if it's kind of a reaction to peeling off labels when I'm at work instead of seeing things the usual way, then doing all this work, I can just observe it. So it's like sometimes it makes me think that it's like the physical reaction of the body changing into this new way of being.
Mm. Yeah.
Like if you are if I'm at work and I have another reaction because I'm now I'm aware of a lot of things that we're talking about. It's like as if I'm in a situation that I don't like, then a certain kind of hormones would come out and I'll go down in frequency, being not that happy. Now other chemicals comes out because I choose to see the things in another way. So I don't know if I think no, I'm trying to see if this physical disease is like a change of being.
Hmm.
So I do have some curiosity to it because I can't always explain it.
Yeah, yeah. No, that sounds good. Yeah, I like that curiosity. Yeah, and very may well be that you're experiencing a shift, a change in your reaction to that. Yeah. You said earlier when you first started to mention this child, you also mentioned that the concern about not making mistakes, and I wonder if that's what the message is it's trying to bring you, that you are overly concerned about doing things right. Do you think that might be something?
I think so because it's the issue that I have at work at the moment, where I have a colleague who is like not teaching me, but saying what I'm supposed to do, but he hasn't been that good at explaining things. And then he would just say, well, you have to ask me, but I didn't even know that I should ask him because I've just started. So with my adult mind, I can analyze and say, well, I made this mistake and that mistake because of him not being being good enough to get me into this thing I was going to do. And then there's the child that is just trying to feeling that it's my fault on it beforehand. So it's like a parallel system. And now I have difficulties in saying to him that, well, I have to fix this thing that you started, but nobody said that you started it. I know you started it. Other people know you started it because you didn't explain things to me. But I'm stuck there. So this is the story about that diverts me to stay in the original feeling of difficulties and doing mistakes. So yeah, it's a big issue.
Mm.
Mm-mm. Or doing things right.
Mm.
It's not, I don't know if I can't do mistakes or if I only have the right to do right.
So if you try your best and you make a mistake, how do you feel about that?
It's quite violent. Yeah. It's huge, I would say.
Mm. So even though you tried to do your best, you're still very hard on yourself, eh?
Mm-mm.
Mm.
Can I just say one little thing here to Gita?
Please, come in.
If you got that job, it's because your employer is trusting that you have the capacity to do it. So you have to trust yourself as well. People believe in you, and you have to believe in yourself too.
I know, thank you. And I know that with my adult mind, but it just doesn't resonate on a cellular level. There's something that isn't connected there. I know it's like that. And I have chosen a job on purpose, which is nobody's going to die if I make a mistake. So I could be okay with doing it. It's not that it doesn't matter if I make a mistake, but it's not fatal to anyone. So, but for now, it's just not on. It's just not integrated. It hasn't integrated yet.
What's wrong with making a mistake?
But if you make a mistake, that's fine. It's just it's like if I make a mistake, then I can't be part of anything any longer, I think.
What's wrong with not being part of anything?
I don't know how to answer this, because if I put the question in the situation, it just completely, it's like I can't breathe any longer. But if I think what's wrong with not being part of anything, then I find it I do like my own company, and I quite like to stay alone. So it's like a bodily feeling that I can't breathe any longer if I make a mistake.
Or what does it mean for you to make a mistake and for people to shun you because you made a mistake and they don't want you to be with them anymore?
It's like I expect them not wanting to. So it's when you ask it like that, it's like it's the other way around. That if I make a mistake and I would say it openly, then I would discover that nothing would happen. And I think that's the difficulty in realizing that I can make a mistake and go on living anyway.
And do you often make mistakes? Or are you, that doesn't happen for you?
I don't think it's not that I don't make mistakes. I do make mistakes, but it's not that I only make mistakes. I think I'm just normal.
Why don't you go try some of the things you said you haven't done because of this child inside of you and see how that feels? Already scared at the thought?
I don't understand the question. So I to do what the child haven't done? Is that the question or the
No, I thought you
recommendation?
mentioned earlier that there are a lot of things that you haven't done in your life because of this whole thing.
Yeah, maybe it would be like opportunities that I wouldn't even think of doing because I was trying to avoid the sensation. But it's not that I have in mind something particular.
I just wanted to jump in and say I'm right there with Geeta. When you made that comment, it really struck me that other people can make a mistake and we're absolutely fine with it and we're supportive of it, and it's a relief to us, but by God, we can't make a mistake. And that sort of shame, that fear of making the mistake and the paralysis around it, the shame, I'm no good. I'm just right there with this conversation.
You're no good. You're both no good.
And
It's not, at least for me, it's not that I have a sensation that I'm no good. It's just that I have to do right.
Why do you have to do right? What are you scared of if you don't?
I think that when we're talking about this, I'm scared of realizing that because I've put myself aside for as a childhood choice, then if I was to realize that if I just am and do the best I can and that's fine, then the realization that is okay, I think that's quite frightening just as a thought.
Go closer to that.
It's like if I was to talk about to shine, then I would choose not to shine because it's like it's more difficult for me to be the one that likes to shine. So
Right.
I would always choose not to shine because it's safer. It's what I know, I think. So it's the unknown of realizing that that the goal isn't to only do right.
Right, like it's such a big part of you, the part that tries not to make mistakes. That you feel like losing something if it's suddenly okay. Well, you're here in this group, and at the start, Vince always says, say whatever you want, because no one gives a shit. Isn't that kind of the same thing?
I can do whatever I want to do because no one cares.
No, I mean, here he says because no one cares, but really it's because there's no cause. Whatever you do, you do. If you're feeling something and you try to do something about it, is that wrong? I don't know. Can you do something about it? Probably not. You can try if you want. Even if you don't do your best, is that not okay?
I think it's like a culmination of this starting this new job and then having an issue of only doing right. And then I'm just about to take this just about to take this next step and changing, wanting to do everything perfect. So it's just about to do it. That's why it's the most frightening. I haven't done it, so I'm just
Same here.
Well, as long as you see that, yeah. I guess it'll just eat you up inside and you'll just suffer and it'll be hell until you can do it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Can we touch into that hell now?
Yeah,
Keita?
what about?
No,
Can you say that again?
can we touch into this hell now? Why wait? Like, so
Well,
ask yourself the question, what would it feel like if you did make a lot of mistakes and it's all not your fault, it's all your boss's fault? What would that feel like?
but it's all in the throat. It's here. It's like
Hmm.
it's like being strangled.
Good. Because I remember before on Discord ages ago, you said you
Yeah,
couldn't feel anything at all.
I know. That's why I've told. I started off by saying that that it's just in this period I'm walking around like being a wreck because I can feel just something all the time,
Uh-huh.
and that just that is a new thing. Feeling because I was so used to not feeling, being
Yeah.
annoyed about that. Now I'm annoyed about feeling. So
Because it's kind of safe up there, isn't it? Kind of safe in the mind.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I can't control the body.
Hmm.
It's just like overwhelming.
Can you give yourself permission to feel like 10% of it?
It's well, I do give myself permission because I go to work all week, and then when I come to Saturday, then I know that, ooh, now I can let it loose and be with it and let it be what is. And then I'm a bit annoyed because it's really strong, that bodily feeling. It's quite overwhelming because I'm not used to it.
Hmm. Two questions come up for me. What is it?
What is it that is overwhelming?
Yeah, if you were to give it a label.
Well, if I sit with it and I let it be, then it's okay. It's when it's just that I'm not used to the being with the body. I'm not used to it. So
What
just
what
that,
what would you name this emotion?
oh, anxiety. But it's like if I it's now it's there without the label. It's just there. But earlier it would have been anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
You say you can't be with the body, but I've got the feeling you can't be with your mind either. Your mind keeps torturing you because you keep thinking, oh, if I make a mistake, if I so maybe you should try to get into the body, and that would release your mind as well. Might be worth trying.
Well, that's what I've chosen to do, because I've been too much with the mind, and I don't trust the mind any longer. Don't trust the thoughts. So I'm staying with the body. It's what I've wanted, and it's difficult anyway.
Do you see that that avoidance of feeling is spurring your behavior?
Like,
you don't want to feel the fear,
mm,
but then you just can't make a mistake. Do you see that parallel?
yeah.
And then it kind of loops around. That's a bit hard.
Yeah.
I feel like the way through is through what's in the middle of that feeling, basically.
I think it might be what Irene said, having compassion and love towards the feeling right now. Instead of just observing what is, then adding this way of being with it.
Say it was just like a sensation. From a outsider's point of view, it's just a sensation.
Yeah.
There's no running away from it because it's just a sensation.
Yeah.
But then we're like, oh yuck, I don't want to feel this. Then we go, it spurs our behavior.
So to be in the middle of it, you would just say,
go have a look at what's at the center of it.
There's nothing, because if I go and stay with it, then it is okay. So I think I'm telling myself that there isn't any label on this sensation, and I might not believe it when you ask this question. It's as if I continue putting on this story of what has happened in this week or 2 weeks, and that gives like food to the sensation of staying there. Am I answering?
I was trying to get to once you feel the whole sensation, you come to a realization that's like, oh, I can actually feel this thing, and it's okay, I'm fine, I'm not dead. You said fatal the other time. And then making a mistake, what's the worst thing that can happen? You'd feel that feeling, you're like, ah, I've felt this before, and it just gets less. I don't know.
Yeah. That gets to the thing that I was saying earlier on, that it's because it's the first time that I try to live this mistake thing in a different way that I used to do. So it would be the first time to like accept or living with it, doing the mistake, which is new. So I'll get on Saturday next week and let you know how it went.
You basically come to a point where you kind of know what it feels like to be a complete failure. Yeah. How does it feel like to be a complete failure? And that's your rock bottom. And once you're there, you're just like,
yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you, everyone.
Sorry, I know that we all offered a lot of suggestions already, but if I may just ask a question and maybe offer a suggestion as well, because I've been doing a lot of like this type of emotion work, trying to get more in touch with difficult emotions. And I think one of the things that helped me that's not too heady is like TRE as well. I don't know if you ever tried this. Have you ever heard of TRE? It's like a trauma or tension release exercise. And it's like just a natural mechanism that our bodies know how to do, but basically by socializing and not allowing our kind of animal parts, it doesn't do it anymore. It's like the shaking, like you go on the floor and there's some exercises, yeah. And that can help a lot because what I feel that happened to me is that there was no safety. I had like a lot of freezed emotions in the body. And slowly, like this helped a lot, like loosen up a little bit and more emotions could come through. Not only that, I also did something like KI, which is similar to internal family systems. I don't know if you're familiar, but theory, I think it's very easy because you don't need to think about anything. It's more like releasing tension from the body, especially when you said you have like that tightness in the throat. If you
Yeah.
just go on the floor and let it shake, it usually like relieves a lot. It just like gets out of the body and yeah, it kind of helps regulate the system a little bit. So that can be like a practical thing that's might help.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll share a link here in the chat because there's like a free course that I did, like from the kind of official guys, and yeah, maybe if you want to have a look at that.
Thank you.
Hi, Gita. I just
Hi.
wanted to say, nice to meet you, and I really resonate with you. I'm kind of at the beginning stages of feeling my feelings and emotions, and similar to what you are, and getting out the head and coming down into feelings. And it just sounds to me like you're doing really well with it, you know, that it's happening naturally for you. And it's, to me, it feels like thawing out, so I can't rush it. You know, it's just when I can, you know, get to a time and place where I can have those feelings. So for you, it's at work. You can't have them very easily. And for me, in some places, I can't have them very easily. But then when I'm alone, I can have them and explore them and be gentle with them. And, you know, I resonate with you because you mentioned violence. And for me, the violence is the thoughts that are piled on top of them that say, you can't do that. You can't feel that. It's dangerous, you know. But I just wanted to encourage you and say that I think you're doing it anyway. You're just relaxing into it, and I think it's a natural process of opening up, and these things are getting felt, you know. And I know the danger for me, especially given lots of suggestions, is then to go seeking to try and do it better or more or quicker. And I've got to feel these feelings, and it's trusting for me and relaxing. That's what I'm learning at the moment, trusting and relaxing that I can feel these feelings when the time's right, when even if it's just a little bit, and then being patient with that. And I just want to offer that as support and encouragement where you're at, 'cause it sounds very similar to what I've been going. Yeah.
No, it's excellent advice from everyone. So I have a lot of work to do this week.
And mine's not really advice, just encouragement. I haven't got any advice for you. You sound like you're doing it anyway. Sounds like it's happening naturally, that you're opening up and feeling your feelings for the first time. It's really scary. It's terrifying.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm really pleased how everybody just about everybody got in help there. That was really good. Thank you. How are you, Irene?
Ah, I have absolutely no idea how to answer that question.
I know it's a crazy one, isn't it?
Really, it really is. I was just thinking about, just right now, just the shares have been so beautiful and the guidance has been so beautiful. And I was just thinking about what Gita was sharing and I can so relate with the fear of making mistakes. And I was just feeling into that while logically, right, for example, as Gita was saying, making a mistake at work isn't going to be life-shattering. It isn't going to, be some big thing. But I was thinking that for that little girl, that wasn't the case. And I was thinking in my own instance that that wasn't the case, that somehow, making a mistake meant annihilation. It meant, oh, breath itself would stop. And just the intensity of that little girl within myself, right? Um, oh, feeling so shattered at the fear of making a mistake and just letting her know that I survived that it's okay, that I made it, and that there were thousands and thousands, and I can't even know what was a mistake and what wasn't. How do I know what was a mistake? At this point, what is a mistake? I have no idea. But just making it safe for that part, and I see that part within myself that was so terrified that it wasn't just that I was making a mistake, it was the end of my existence almost, the fear of that. And I see that now I don't even know what the fuck is a mistake.
Yeah, that's a great question. Is a mistake when we don't get approval or when we do get disapproval? That might be what we.
Yeah, certainly from a child's perspective, that's exactly what it would be, right? From a child's perspective, it would be, I made a mistake if I didn't get the response that I was seeking. I got disapproval. I got ostracized. I got sent to my room. I got punished. Well, certainly that, now we know what a mistake is, right? Don't do that again. Don't do that one again until, there's a lot of things we can't do.
Mm.
Yeah, it's like being me is a mistake.
Yeah. Oh, I shouldn't laugh. That's a big one though, isn't it? Yeah. I am a
Well,
mistake. My existence is a mistake.
well, I kind of feel frustrated because following along with Geeta's conversation, I'm right there with her. She's talking for me, but it doesn't feel complete. And Irene just dropped it into a whole deeper level. Like, it's just a mistake. No, it's not. A mistake is annihilation, life or death, and it's in that murky space I need to go because this really resonates for me. That feeling of uncomfortableness in the body for the last while. I'm trying to get my head around. Is what people are saying here right? Is this me now feeling? Am I in no man's land because I can't live in the head anymore, but I don't know how to live in the body? So I'm completely fucking lost. And this whole job thing is right there for me at the minute. The same as Gita, first week into a job, haven't done anything yet, but I'm going to make all the mistakes, fuck it up, get sacked, and become a useless nobody. So trying to future and self, which these are kicked off at the start, and even Stella's talked about it with work and being not good enough. Like the whole theme of the conversation today is exactly where I'm at. But that sort of, I see that whatever that is, then produces judgment in me, and that judgment creates separation and is violent in its own way. So this sort of fear of making mistakes and what's behind that is really interesting right now. It's not concluded.
I think that the thing about making a mistake, when it's not defined what the mistake is, but it's just out there, making a mistake, it just covers everything. So it gets, it's there all the time because you couldn't point out the mistake as one. It's just a way of being, or a title, not doing any mistakes. But what is that mistake?
And it's more the other side of it is it's the need to be perfect, because only when you're perfect is everything okay. So mistakes mean you're not perfect, and it's this sort of, like, I've written 3 pages of notes while listening to people to try and give a voice to what I'm feeling. You know, you can say simply it's a confidence issue, or it's fear of failure, not being liked, I'll be found out. And someone said, "Oh, you said it, Vince. You know, just to even to try and relax. Can't do it. Can't do it. Don't think I've ever done anything that felt right. It's very young, and it even feels like intergenerational. And there's a real desire to get to the bottom of it because it's ruining my life." And there's more selfing.
Yeah. Now, selfing's not wrong. That shows us something. Okay, what you said, one of the things you said that really went boing in my head was, "I'll be found out."
Yeah, it kind of feels like it goes towards a feeling of worthlessness, a feeling of shame, a feeling of,
Yeah. The truth will be revealed, and that is that you're something.
unlovable.
Dennis, for me, because as I told you, I had a similar experience last week. For me, a mistake is a thought about something that we would like to be different. So in my case, I had some shooting with a camera, and I had a really good time these days, enjoyed. And then I saw the footage, and I felt completely crap because some of the footage I didn't really like. And then I had the realization that I was in a really good place and I'm still is. There is nothing here that can hurt me. Okay? So I just have a thought about something that I would like to be different, to be acceptable about the lady that hired me. And then I thought, why the fuck I want to be acceptable by her? Maybe it's not good to work with her, or maybe it's just on my head that this work is not good.
Yeah, I can resonate with that last point you made about wanting to feel acceptable to the lady I'm working for, wanting her to approve of me and to like me. And it sets you up in a sort of a position of feeling less than. And sure, then the universe is just going to give me reasons to feel more less than. It's like it's self-sabotage in some way.
But the point I'm saying is that the reality was great, was okay. And it all ruined in some way because I had a thought about someone I don't know and I don't need the acceptance to accept me. And this is stupid.
Yeah. But the thought comes from a feeling inside. It's like someone in work looked at me and we were briefly chatting and they just looked at me and straight away
Yeah,
the
but
thought was, oh, he doesn't like me.
yeah, but this
And then the
thought,
contraction.
this thought is just a label about something that may happen when you were 4.
Yeah.
Now it cannot hurt you. So recognize that it's just a stupid thought saying blah, blah, blah about your past experience. Maybe the other guy does not watch you like this. And today, in my example, I had a call from this lady and she was really happy. And I had an awful week about the thought that it was in
That she
my
wasn't going to
head.
like it. I know, yeah.
Yeah,
I know exactly where you are, but I'm not there.
Yeah. The other thing is that you cannot really do anything about it. Just recognize it a bit if you remember that it's just a fucking thought. And
So I'm back to anger now. So it's fuck you all. I'm back there. Fuck you all.
even that is an experience. Even that is an experience. If you see
It feels
that
a bit
fuck
more
you all,
empowering.
it's not bad to feel angry or to say fuck you all. If you recognize that this is a current experience, it's really good. If you stuck to it, why I'm feeling like this and I shouldn't feel angry, why not to feel angry? About some days ago, I was in the car in a really good mood. Everything was quiet and stuff like this. And some guy, pulls the car in front of me and I was almost to have an accident. And I say, you fucker. And I was really angry. And at the same moment, I realized this. And from the anger, I was really happy and totally relaxed in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And this
I felt
happened.
that.
Okay, it's not something that you can do, but just to remember that it's an experience of feeling angry or feeling not complete or anything. Just to remember to not continue the story.
But this now, as I said, this is not just a remnant of identification that Dennis has got. This is a really basic feeling. He knows that he's a piece of shit. He knows that he's no good. Deep down, he knows that, and that's what he's reacting to. Not something that can easily be just thrown away.
Yeah, but how does he know that he's shit?
He feels it with the deepest part of him. He feels it. He knows that's the case.
Yeah, it's a physical pain in the center of the chest, in the back of the chest. It's right front and back of heart.
So I imagine you have stayed with this sensation, right?
With it now, and from time to time.
Yeah. Don't push it a lot because it will get worse. If you don't feel like to be in these feelings, for me, how it works for me, just do something else that it will give you joy for this minute. And maybe some other time you are relaxed and you can really get into it. Because if you, in my case, yeah.
No, I was just going to say, I have no problem being here with it. I mean, this is the time to be here with it. I've no desire to do anything else. In fact, this is the core issue. This is the only thing to be done. Nothing else matters. I'm not going to go off for a cycle or go and see a movie because this will be here distracting me. This is where I need to be. This is it.
Yep.
But maybe it's just, this, that I have to do this is just another thought and self-thing that you lose some other experience. Because I was really...
It's not, I'm not thinking it's a feeling that's drawing me in. I'm not having any thoughts. I can start thinking about, well, I want to feel it so I can get rid of it or I can heal it. That's all thoughts, yeah, but the feeling is still pulling.
Mm.
And I can go back to intellectualizing the whole I'm unlovable, I'm not loved from when I was a child, how I grew up. I can't change any of that. But it's obviously a frozen feeling. Irene mentioned the annihilation, that, being seen or not being seen, or, making mistakes, and a mechanism of survival was set up to try and be perfect. And you sacrifice so much in doing that, that when I did touch into a minute ago, there was obviously a sadness about the fact that Vince said I'm unlovable. That really hurt Vince, by the way.
Mm. Yeah, I meant to hurt you. That when you said it was frozen, that rang a bell for me as well. That it's locked in there. It is a really, really essential part of you. Hey. And
Yeah,
there's nothing
definitely.
you can do to get rid of it. There's absolutely nothing you can do to get rid of it. So where does that leave you?
It just leaves me with the feeling.
Yeah. And you're absolutely helpless to do anything about it. So you can dislike it, you can hate it, you can feel anything you want to feel about it. That's not going to change it. That is just part of it, isn't it? It's not even going to add to it
Yeah.
because it's already all of those things.
Well, I don't dislike it right now.
Oh, does it feel a bit comfortable, or what's the right word? Does it feel integral in you?
Yeah, it's more positive. There's a sadness with it, but the sadness is like a melting.
The sadness have a little bit of acceptance.
Here's what I found.
The mind wants to comment about it. It's like, you're fucked. Ugh.
Yeah. I reckon that's a great, great, great place for you to be. You are fucked. You're totally, totally fucked. There's not a single thing you can't move. You can't do anything at all. There it is. It's just part of you, as much as part of you as your hand or your ears or whatever. It's just so much part of you. And if you accepted that, just to have a fantasy with me, if you accepted that it is part of you, if I asked you, could you live with that for the rest of your life if you had to, you would say, I don't have a choice. It's just part of me. There would be total acceptance of it, would there not?
Yeah, I don't have a choice. Doesn't resonate. When you said it, the sense was I could imagine if I was with it for the rest of my life, or accepted it more so. If I accepted it, I'd be I'd be free.
Yeah, absolutely. It would change if you accepted it, but you're not.
Not
You're,
free of it, just free.
yes, yeah, okay, okay. Yeah,
This is me. I'm broken. This is me. I've accepted it. Now I can move from there.
yeah. There's no,
If I
no
could
more
accept it.
fighting it. All right. Yeah.
No more trying to be perfect, not make mistakes, and then all the violence that comes from that.
Mm. That's interesting and profound, isn't it? The violence that comes from attempting to be perfect. Oh, it is violent.
Yeah, and I don't even,
Yeah.
yeah, and I don't even mean physical violence. I mean how we
Yeah.
relate, how we
Yeah.
are in the world, how we behave with people. It's all violent.
Mm. Yeah, it's
and the
aggressive,
violence we do to ourselves,
defensive aggression. Yeah.
separate, judgment, judging.
Dennis, what's the difference between this sensation and the sensation of like your right foot?
They're similar sensation-wise, except there's a belief that the chest is stuck.
Well, you can't get rid of
Like
the feeling of your foot. Is your foot stuck?
there's no belief around the feeling in my foot.
The difference is an attached belief. What was fun?
Is there
It
any?
feels like if it feels like a core belief. I'm stuck.
Which is much a part of you as your right foot.
No, like the sensations in the foot I can feel. The foot is just footing away, no problem. The sensations in the chest are similar. There's movement. I might say there's tightness and there's a heaviness, but I'm adding labels right now, and then I can add more. I'm stuck. I'm frozen. I'm hurt. I'm tight. That's not okay. So that's kind of how I'd answer what you said there, Tyler.
So there isn't any actual difference between the felt experience of it, is there? Other than what you put on top of it.
There's more of a well, if the experiences are being experienced, the sensations in the heart area are more. They're calling me more.
Well, yeah, I
They're
mean,
calling for attention.
if I put an ice cube on your left arm, you're gonna notice that more than on your right arm.
Yeah, if you chop my hand off now, that'll call for attention more than the
Yeah, a
heart
little
would.
bit of attention, yeah. But I mean, that's all it is. You'll notice a loud sound more than a quiet sound. When you feel it and you don't add anything to it, what's the problem?
Yeah, well, you see, now you've just taken me right back to the space where there is no problems, and that's fine while I'm sitting here in the shed. But when I go to work Monday, I might have to ring you to take me back there when I start at 9.
Yeah, you want me to send you my number or what? That's just more shit. Like, you're right here. That's it.
Yeah,
It's always this.
but there's right here, right now in this space with all you people, the consequences aren't there. There's consequences to work, living. We're earning a wage. There's so many layers on top of it. It's not like I can just go in and go, ah, it just is. Off we go. No
Why
problem.
not?
Because whatever conditioning runs just starts to run. And that's supposed to be okay too.
But you're just saying that.
I know.
What is a consequence? It's just a thought. You just got to like, oh, there's nothing wrong, and then you're like, oh, no, 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 but it's gonna be wrong. No doubt about that.
Yes. Yes.
You can't stay still. The moment it's okay, you gotta go make it wrong again.
And have you a tablet for that?
Do I what?
Have a tablet for that?
It's not for that. Just stop. That's it.
Can I ask you something else? All this time, did you manage to change this feeling? Because you don't want it, you want to change, but all this that you have done, noticing it, analyzing it, have you managed ever to change it?
When I accept it more and be with it, it softens. I don't want to get rid of it, but I do have the idea that
Why you don't want to get rid of it?
Because what I'm saying is I'm not trying to push it away. It feels uncomfortable, or it seems like the root of uncomfortableness in my life, and so I'm drawn back to it.
Do you like it? Do you like that label of being a loser? I'm sorry, I'm very blunt here, but
No, you're fine. You can say whatever you like. I'm just digesting the question.
Blunt is good. Don't be sorry.
No, I wouldn't say I like it because I'm not a loser.
well, you see. Do you have a family, Dennis? Sorry, I don't know you, so
Yeah,
you have children, maybe? Yeah.
Yeah.
When you go out for a walk with your kids, or if you have a dog, I don't know, if you go for a walk with your dog, do you think of all that, or you're just happy? You're happy to be outside and walking around, being around.
Yeah, that's a good point. This is there all the time and you reminded me going for a walk with my daughter, and this is there, and it feels like it's creating a barrier, so I'm not present with my daughter, and then I get angry about that. There's something calling my attention all the time, which is taking me away from life, and that's an example of going for a walk with your daughter.
Seems pretty big. You want to give it a name? Let's name it. Let's name your pet. What's its favorite food, Dennis?
The first name that came up to call it was it's called Fuck. And I don't mean sexually, it's like fuck.
Well, my colleague would say you should take a fuck it all pill.
I asked Tyler for one, he doesn't have any. Yeah.
No,
yeah,
I
fuck it
would
all
say
feels good. Yeah. Yeah, anger, that's definitely here trying to make its way out of every pore it can find.
Just stop trying to solve a problem. What's the fucking problem?
Feels like I'm the fucking problem.
Right. You're gonna get out of you? What are you doing, Dennis?
I have no fucking idea.
Then for what?
I'm trying to be somebody.
Stop.
Somebody, anybody but Dennis.
Well, I don't even know who Dennis is. That's just a name.
I'm trying to figure something out. You think there's something there, like you get the right answer and then boom, you don't have a chest anymore. Dude, I got a chest. It gets tight. That's it.
Well, it's not normal to have a tight chest.
Yeah, maybe it's not. I should go to a doctor.
But you're not normal.
That's true.
Why is it true?
People tell me that a lot. Just like Vince did.
Maybe you think too much about yourself, about your own problems. Maybe you should go out and look after your grandparents or someone in need. That would redirect your attention on someone else. And it would make you feel good at the same time.
You don't have to make it a
Yeah.
future thing. Like right now, what thoughts are going through your head? What are you trying to do? This is it, Dennis.
I don't know why I'm smiling.
I think you're starting to see the absurdity of what's going through your head and all of the thinking about what this is and what you can do about it, and the group setting where people tell you what you can do about it, and then you can go try that, and then maybe it'll make it go away.
Yeah, well, I am doing TRE to help, so
Dennis, when you're here in this group and you get the right prompting that takes you into that mm, that that peaceful place where you know about everything is okay. That happens to you from time to time, doesn't it?
yeah.
When you're here, yeah. And then when you go to work, even though that's recent for you, but or when you're in other places and you're not feeling that, do you say that here it's the circumstances that can help you to get into that peaceful place, but when you're not here, it's not the circumstances that take you into that other horrible place, but it's you that takes you into that other horrible place. But it's not you that takes you into the pleasant, peaceful place when you're here. It's circumstances. Is that accurate?
That feels accurate enough, Vincent, yeah. Um,
Does that show some ridiculousness somewhere?
but it feels like I don't have to prove myself here. This is a space that you can just be, but outside in the world,
Yeah, but it's not the circumstances here that give you that feeling of not having to prove yourself. Although you might want to say it's the circumstances, it is you that is relaxing and saying, I don't need to prove myself, and therefore you're feeling good. That's in you. But that's not in you when you're out there trying to prove yourself. So it's like you turn it off and you turn it on.
yeah, I can see that. I can see what you're saying, and I'm just trying to figure out the mechanism of how I turn it on.
Well, don't worry about how you do it. At this stage, just accept that you do it. that may be enough right at the moment to be the thin edge of the
Yeah.
wedge, so to speak. Because
Yeah.
it's pretty obvious that it is entirely in you that those two things happen. So it's just a bit of a mystery about what is it, what beliefs change, or what belief becomes prominent in the different situations.
I think Dennis sees all of the beliefs. He's kind of analyzed this more than I've analyzed anything in my life.
Yeah. He's done it well.
He knows it really well.
I don't know what you're talking about, Tyler.
Maybe if he just does a little bit more analysis, he'll finally figure it out, and then things will be okay. Yeah. I'm sure that'll happen.
Dennis, I'll try to
Yeah.
give you a tool. So, bring your attention, close your eyes, and bring your attention to your butt and the chair. Okay?
Yeah.
Did you have an image of your butt or your chair?
I did when you said it there, but beforehand I didn't. I just went to the feelings in that area.
Or okay. The mental image of your butt or the chair is fantasy.
Yeah.
The truth is just the sensation. So every time you feel lost in your head, do this. Every mental picture is a fantasy, it's not true. Just to simplify things a little bit, may this help you. Every mental picture, if I think something now, it's a fantasy, it's not here. So maybe this is a distinction to help you separate fantasy from reality. You don't try to avoid fantasy, but just separate. This is fantasy, and this is a chair, this is a table, this is my leg, this is a sensation.
Yeah. No, I can see what you're doing. I like it because you didn't say go to your heart and feel that pain. You said go to your butt,
No.
which is
Because
neutral.
if you go to your heart, that's the thing. Even if I say go to your heart, or you are alone and you go to your heart, there is a Dennis try to do something. And when we try to do something, we have a back story about changing it. Just separate reality from fantasy. When you think of your butt, it's fantasy. When you feel the space between your butt and your couch, that's true. So keep this as a tool for moments you feel lost.
Yeah. Okay.
Dennis, I really resonate with what you said about being me is a mistake. Like I totally got that. And Irene's statement about making a mistake is annihilation. It's like death is on the line. I totally resonate with both of those statements. And I was talking with Vince recently because I was in a free fall about a huge project I'm working on. And it's big. The stakes are really big for me on this project. And I was just in a panic yesterday, like free fall panic. It's like, fuck. Like, if I fuck this up, I am fucked. That is it. I mean, I am really in a bad place. And what was the most helpful thing that Vince said to me was that feeling you're feeling, that panic
that you're going to be annihilated, that your life is on the fucking line here. That has nothing to do with this job. There's nothing to do with this job. It goes back. It's this little girl who really was in a life and death situation when she would. That's how it felt to her. And when I saw that, I went, and I was just able to ground myself, and I said, oh, this palpitation, this terror I'm feeling right now, this has nothing to do with this job. It has nothing to do with this job. And oh my God, it just dissipated. I was able to, within 20 minutes of that conversation, I was back to doing my work. I was grounded and centered and happy. I was working happy because I understood that panic had nothing to do with today. Nothing. It just.
I hear what you're saying, Phoebe, and I can. When you understood that there was a release or relief, I'm not there. I don't know that this panic or stress or tightness is nothing to do with this job. I can intellectualize, oh yeah, this is the core wound of a young person when they froze years ago. But right now in the job, the feelings are there. So I haven't got that distance that it's nothing to do with this job. It feels like an insight or something shifts.
Okay.
I would also like to say something about this, Dennis. I had a similar problem with worthlessness. Maybe I still do. I don't know. But what Vince told me, what I found very helpful, was that you are nothing but a wound. The you is a wound, is a childhood wound. And if you think about it, you can release that wound.
It really resonates when you say, I am a wound. That hits the mark.
Yes,
the next
it's
step
the wound
is,
and the protection and all the protection that you built around that wound.
Yeah.
That's the me.
Yeah, it's like the pearl around a grain of sand. It's the core thing. But then you said, and you can release it. That's a mystery.
Well, just think about it.
Yeah.
Have you gone off thinking again?
There's actually no thinking right now, Tyler.
Cool.
But you're right, it does feel like we've gone back into story again.
That's it. Back to the story, just happened, but you don't follow it. It's just your butt. Anything else is fantasy. So even if you go to your wound, have that in mind. Everything that appears, it's fantasy. Just the sensation of the wound is real. Don't expect something, just see the difference.
The butt is great because that's where all the shit is.
Exactly.
Yeah, very funny, Vince. Yeah.
What Adrienne just said to you was what I heard was that is the self, the construction of the self. That's where all the
Yeah.
identification is. That's the big hook. That's a steel plaited rope that hooks you into that you can't let go of, that self that is there.
Yeah, and it feels like I'm protecting that wound.
Yes. And don't do anything with it. Just stay with that. That's a good place to stay. Don't judge the protection of it. Just look at it. Mm. Don't even think about wanting to change it. Just look at it. How have you been, Scott? You were pretty good last time we spoke.
Say that again?
Doing great, Vince.
Still good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't understand what you mean.
So my car's starting to talk to you.
I didn't know.
No, that was me, Vince.
Anyway, I've just been kind of just getting used to this new perspective and seeing the I see the conditioning coming back in, occasionally here and there. Not occasionally. It's really all around. It's just a matter of when you see it and when you don't or whatever. But kind of noticing that I'm kind of following along almost the same as I did before, even though I'm not trying. It's just I'm just find myself at these meetings and started looking at the feathers again. But the feeling of, oh my God, I got to go do this. I got to get as much time as I can, and I got to make something happen. That's gone.
Right.
So there's a lot of, just the comfort. I mean, it just feels. I didn't have any fireworks. You know what I mean? I didn't still, I didn't have any thing I could actually. Oh yeah, but that feeling of having to push, and Dennis, is the feeling of less than. I guess it's, there's still conditioning there, but just not, doesn't really matter anymore. It seems like occasionally I'll start wondering like, oh, is that real? Did this really happen? I question it, but whenever I just sit down and like look around, I'm like, oh yeah, it's here. I just I do have a sense of like a whole world that hasn't surfaced yet, but
It feels
overall.
close though.
Say again?
Does it feel close, that world?
Yeah, yeah, it does. It feels like it's like right here, but it just feels like there's some blind spots. Like, I don't know if that makes sense or not. Part of it, I think, is you know the information that we pull in as we start down the path. Maybe that's it. I don't know. So the thing that just keeps coming back to me is I don't care anymore. That's the biggest part of it. It's like I don't, even though like like I said, I go to the meetings and still read and listen to videos. It doesn't really matter. I just feel like if there's something to come, it'll come.
Yep. Yeah. It feels good to me. It feels like you're in a good place. Yeah. It's obvious that there is stuff to look at, but as you say, there's no hurry. There's no urgency. They don't really matter. They'll reveal themselves when the time is right. And yeah, sounds pretty good to me.
I don't know why. I mean, I don't know. I might be. I have this impulse to kind of. They've talked about guiding, and I have an impulse to look at that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of like less than conditioning. That it's kind of comes in and out. But on a practical note, I was wondering if it would be okay if I like dropped in on your meeting tomorrow, or it might not be tomorrow for you. I don't know.
Yeah, it is
Right.
the guide training meeting. Yep, for sure.
Is that okay? Would it be
Yeah,
all right?
absolutely. No worries at all. Yeah.
Okay.
Same link. Yeah.
Just observe.
Oh, get involved. Yeah. Oh, it sounds good. I always recommend guiding. If you've seen through the gate, you're quite qualified to help others do the same thing. Yeah, that's good stuff.
My feeling is I just feel like I'm kind of dry, and I don't know if I even have anything to offer really, but
you said that word earlier. No, you're not dry. Don't worry.
I feel like I'm like I had the conditioning for me is to like simplify everything into a little pill, like we talked about magic pill, and then just present this shrunk down version of some perception that helped me, I guess. I don't know.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that's what we do. We try and communicate our own experience. Absolutely. Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah, I look forward to that.
The guiding process that like I went through with James was so instructional and so eye-opening that I missed it. I want to go. I wanted to like enter into like a situation similar to that because I guess it's partly it's partly some seeking left over, I guess, but it was so ordinarily amazing.
Mm.
It didn't seem like nothing else got through to me, until some of those practical things.
Yep. Oh, that's good. you can pay it forward. I like that.
Thanks, Vince.
No worries. How have you been, Kelly? You were pretty good last time I spoke to you.
Hey, Vince. Yeah, I feel, I don't know how I feel. It's, emotions come up now. I feel like, there's a massive acceptance, instead of trying to push them away or avoid them. There's more trust in my body. It seems to just plonk me down, when I need to feel. I had what I call quite a dark day last Sunday. I didn't really leave my room. It was shut us down. But there's a massive sense of trust now that the only way is kind of like through it. And the only thing that'll cause me pain is my head, you know, when I get lost in the port storms. So I just sat with that all day. And I could literally feel it just, you know, when it was ready, I just sat and it literally took seconds and it just went. And that was really, and then I just felt totally all right. So I'm just at minute trying to just flow. If things come up, they come up, you know, not trying to judge them, not trying to run away, not trying to avoid, to just feel. Yeah, and that's pretty much where I am.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's a good place. Good stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
I
So,
respect the bad I won't call them bad emotions, but I respect them now. I don't like them. I know
yeah,
you always say, oh, that's where the juice is. I haven't quite got to that stage yet. There is still a little, you know, if I wake up and there's like, I don't feel quite right, there's a little sinking in my heart. I'm like, oh, here we go. But there is more of there's a willingness there now.
yeah. So if I ask you this, when shit turns up, is it okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's
There's
a
a
big
trust
one.
there now that it'll, there's a trust there that I will get through it. And there's also a sweetness, you know, when I do go through something, there's such a sweetness at the end of it. You know, when you feel like you've gone through it. And that's really beautiful. I like that, you know, it's like, holy shit, I've done it.
Yeah,
Even though I haven't done anything.
yeah.
But yeah, and sometimes it literally takes an hour, sometimes it takes all day, sometimes it takes longer. I ain't got control of that.
Sure.
Yeah. That's what I'm kind of working on now, you know, that to just like, you know, that it's not on my time scale. It'll work itself out in its own time.
Right.
I have no control over it.
Something that might be good to notice is if the stuff that comes up, is it the same stuff or is it different stuff? No, so if it's the same stuff, then it's one thing, and if it's different stuff, then it's another thing. Yeah.
No, I can definitely feel the difference. So on Sunday, it just on Sunday that stuff, it was really dark. It felt very like, if I have to label it, like hate. I hated the world hated me. You know, I just wanted to completely shut down. It felt so dark and quite deep as well. It felt really deep. And that took all day. I feel that it just wanted to be loved. That's what it felt like. It was just a part of me that just needed to be felt and loved and accepted. And when I allowed that to come up, there weren't really massive stories around it. It just felt like it felt deep. It felt there was sadness in there as well. And it just felt like I just had to sit with it. And it, as I say, it took all day, and then it seemed to go. And I've had that feeling of black and white a few times now, you know, the like hate and love. And I think they're just like, they're together, and you can't have one without the other. You can't have kind of like, you can't love all yourself until love the light until you love the dark in yourself as well.
Yep.
And that's kind of what it feels like. And I feel like I'm getting more acceptance towards that. I do get myself lost sometimes. But that's all right. That's meant to happen. But yeah, yeah, it just feels at minute, it just feels good. A massive chunk of fears left me because I was scared of everything. A massive chunk of probably anxiety of being bothered what people think of me. All that seems to have dropped. It's a nice place to be at the moment.
Right. Yeah. No, it sounds pretty good. You know, or even the shitty stuff sounds okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, just notice in future if the shitty stuff, when the shitty stuff turns up, is it different? If it's different, if there's a movement, right, you're working through all of that stuff. If the same stuff keeps coming back, then let me know. Yeah. But if it's different,
it does.
Right.
It's slightly different. So like, you know, maybe one time it might be, say, I'm feeling like, say, hate, resentment, doubt, shame, and then it'll just slightly change, and there'll be like undertones of sadness the next day, if that makes sense. So it's not exactly the same. It is slightly different.
Yeah. Well, while it's on being different, that's new stuff you're working through. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Good stuff.
Thanks, Finn.
Yeah, no worries. Okay. Well, on that note, I think it's time for me to go to bed. Yeah. Been a great night. Always is, but it's it's been good. Oh, that's Phoebe. Are you still feeling centered and good, Phoebe?
I'm doing great.
Great.
Yeah. It really helped yesterday. Really helped.
Yeah. Oh, that makes me feel good. And yeah, good stuff. All right, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for a lovely meeting, everyone. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.